It was supposed to be a simple night out. You know, the kind laughter. A few drinks, just a good time with good friends. The city carnival had rolled into town, and it was a beacon in the darkness. All flashing colors, midway games, and the sweet, nostalgic smell of popcorn. But beneath all that manufactured joy, something sinister was hiding, lurking behind a painted smile. My friends and I decided to hit the carnival after hearing all the buzz about its newest attraction, the Hall of Laughs. The whispers claimed it was the scariest funhouse ever built, a twisted maze of clowns and mirrors designed to play tricks on your mind. The local legend was that you wouldn't leave the same person you were when you went in. We just laughed it off, figuring it was clever marketing hype. We couldn't have been more wrong. The night was unusually cold, and a thick, heavy fog began to roll in, swallowing the carnival lights and muffling the sounds of joy. As we walked through the main gates, my eyes landed on an old man selling masks from a rickety table. His wares were a gallery of clown faces, some happy, some sad, and some twisted into grotesque, permanent grins. One, in particular, grabbed me. It was a cracked white mask, its red lips smeared like blood, its eyes hollow and deep. It looked ancient and profoundly wrong. The old man's lips curled into a knowing smile when he saw me staring. "That one," he said, his voice a dry, raspy whisper, "belonged to the first Joker, the one who made everyone laugh until they screamed." I gave an awkward chuckle and hurried away, but a deep, unsettling chill was already crawling up my spine, a feeling I just couldn't shake. When we finally reached the Hall of Laughs, a performer dressed as a clown stood by the entrance, casually juggling a set of gleaming knives. His makeup was a mess, smeared and chaotic, like he'd painted it on in complete darkness. He shot us a grin, revealing a row of yellow-stained teeth, and whispered, "Once you go in, the laughter follows you home." Inside, the air was thick with the smell of rust and old, cloying perfume. The walls were lined with mirrors, each one slightly warped, distorting our reflections into monstrous caricatures. As we ventured deeper into the maze, the laughter began. It was soft at first, like distant whispers, but it grew steadily louder, overlapping voices echoing from everywhere and nowhere at once. My friends were giggling nervously, pushing ahead, but I stopped, frozen. I looked into one of the mirrors and saw something impossible. My reflection was smiling, a wide, knowing smile, even though my own face was a mask of confusion. The reflection slowly tilted its head, that smile stretching wider and wider, stretching into something unnatural and horrifying. And then it laughed, a low, distorted, guttural sound that sent a jolt of pure terror right through me. I stumbled back, my heart pounding in my chest, and the lights in the corridor flickered violently. When they snapped back on, my reflection was gone. I yelled out for my friends, but only a dead, heavy silence answered. The disembodied laughter, however, grew louder, bouncing off every mirrored surface, closing in. I started to run, desperately trying to find a way out of the maddening maze. But every turn just led me back to the same room, the same cracked mirror, with that smiling version of me staring back, waiting. And then I saw him, a tall, gaunt figure standing right behind my reflection in the glass. He was wearing the same cracked white mask from the vendor's table, its painted grin stretched from ear to ear. His eyes were just black, empty voids, and his own insane laughter filled the room, drowning out everything else. "Want to hear a joke?" he asked, his voice dripping with pure, unadulterated madness. Before I could even think to run, he smashed through the mirror, glass exploding everywhere. He grabbed me by the neck, and his grip was like ice, burning and freezing at the same time. "Laughter is a disease," he whispered directly into my ear. "Once you catch it, you never stop." And then everything went black. When I came to, I was outside the carnival. My friends were crowded around me, their faces etched with worry. They'd found me near the main entrance, trembling, disoriented, and covered in small cuts from the shattered glass. I tried to tell them what happened, to explain the man in the mask, but the words wouldn't form. They just stared at me, confused. They said the funhouse, the Hall of Laughs, had been closed for years. It was condemned after a terrible accident killed a performer inside, a clown who went by the name Jack the Joker. According to the town's dark legend, Jack was obsessed with making people laugh. He would scare them, shock them, even hurt them, all for the sake of a smile. One night, during his final act, he finally snapped. He trapped an entire audience inside the funhouse and set it on fire, his maniacal laughter echoing through the screams as the place burned. When the police finally found his body, his face had been melted into a permanent, horrifying grin. The carnival was shut down soon after, but the story goes that every few years, on a foggy night, it reappears. That night, sleep was impossible. I kept hearing Eta faint, high-pitched laughter just outside my window. When I finally worked up the courage to look, I saw a shadow standing in the fog, tall, thin, and wearing a cracked white mask, the same one I'd seen in the mirror. The next morning, I scoured the news. The carnival had vanished overnight. It was just gone, leaving behind nothing but empty fields and patches of burnt grass. No one could explain how an entire carnival could just disappear. But the laughter didn't disappear. It followed me. It became the soundtrack to my life. I'd hear it in the shower, echoing in the school hallways, even when I blasted music through my headphones to try and drown it out. Sometimes I'd catch flashes of that smiling mask in reflections in shop windows, in mirrors, even in puddles on the street. And each time I saw it, it seemed a little bit closer. One night, I was jolted awake by the sound of giggling, right next to my ear. My room was pitch black, but I could make out a faint, tall shape standing at the foot of my bed. My heart stopped. I couldn't breathe. Then I heard the voice, that same chilling, playful voice. Knock, knock. I lay there, paralyzed with fear, not making a sound. Knock, knock, it repeated, louder this time, more insistent. My voice was barely a whisper, shaking as I asked, "Who's there?" A low, satisfied chuckle filled the silence. You laughed. Now it's my turn. I lunged for the lamp, flooding the room with light. It was empty, but scrawled across my bedroom mirror in what looked like red paint were 4 words. Smile, you're one of us now. Since that night, I've stopped looking in mirrors. I keep them all covered, but sometimes, in the dead of night, when the house is quiet, I can still hear him. The Joker, laughing softly in the dark, just waiting for me to finally laugh back. Because that's the punchline. Once you hear his joke, you can never, ever forget it. The laughter never, ever ends. Thank you so much for listening to my story. If you have your own chilling encounters you'd like to share, drop them in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more tales from the dark. Stay safe out there.